Hey everybody, hope you're all having a great weekend. Today I'd like to talk about coffee beans. I did a few posts concerning showing that I was stabilizing coffee beans prior to casting, and I thought I would share my results with you in case anyone was interested in on the fence like I was, whether you wanted to stabilize or not. So let me show you what I got, and we'll go from there. As I turn the camera around, I have my bowl. This was one bag of coffee beans that I vacuum stabilized using cactus juice and cured in the appropriate manner. 200 degrees was the temp I used, and they sat in for just over 2 hours, probably 2 hours, 15 minutes, something like that. Uh, Not sure. Um, the first batch that I did, um, this was a blank. These were beans that I cast in clear. Clear was the look I was going for. I did a coffee scoop for a coworker friend of mine, and it really came out really nice. I love the look of being able to see all the beans. The one thing you can notice right off the bat, if you see all the areas, all the voids in the beans, and this is probably where most people, when they turn a uh, blank that you purchase from off the top of my head, it's right down the street from me, is Rockler, that probably use unstabilized beans. But in these, if I try and dig my fingernail into any of the voids, I'm getting nothing back whatsoever. All those little voids are either filled with resin or with cactus juice, and that really it made a huge difference. So I have a little pile of these beans I grabbed from in the house. These are non-stabilized beans, and I've got a little tiny little hammer that I used to when I would take the kids to Home Depot for the little weekend workshops. They wanted their own little hammers, and so that's where this one is. And since we don't really do that much anymore, it's kind of a nice little one to have in the shop anyway. So let's give these a couple of taps so you can kind of see what happens. Now these are unstabilized beans, and as you can see, they break apart pretty quick. It doesn't take much. Whoa, that one went everywhere. It doesn't take much pressure at all, and you can hear how hollow how hollow they are on the inside. So let me put that down there. Let's grab a stabilized bean. We'll grab this one here. And let's grab one in here. Doesn't really matter. And then listen to the difference if you can. So these are stabilized beans. Now, as you can see and hear, I'm hitting these pretty hard, and now they're just starting to break apart. So, but they're not flying apart. They're kind of holding together. Obviously, the harder you hit them, I mean, if I cracked on them like I'm trying to drive a nail, they're going to shatter apart. But held up pretty, I would say. So the answer for me, anyway, since I have the ability to stabilize, is that when I do bean blanks or if I need coffee beans in the future, uh, I'm going to stabilize. I have to admit that the everything that I was hearing from people about turning coffee bean blanks kind of scared me into doing it. Just because listening to people say how much the beans would fly out of the resin, or you needed a lot of CA because they would just kind of crumble apart. And they look nice afterwards. I'm not going to deny that, but just that much. I don't want to say that much effort, but it just seemed like more work to just chucking up your blank and going to town on it. Um, so that's. That's what I found. One of the things that I did have to do, that I had to think out a little bit when after the soak cycle, after the vacuum cycle had completed and I finished soaking. That process, mainly because of time and my job, uh, it was an entire week. I put them in, I put a batch in on the like a Saturday, vacuumed for a couple of days just because I knew it was going to be a long time before I was able to get them into the oven, and then I let them soak probably 4 or 5 days. And So what I did is I had purchased some fine square mesh from the hardware store. Usually, like for covering up vents, keeping bugs and things out. And I kind of wrapped that around the racks of my toaster oven and spread them out after they had, and that kind of kept most of the beans from falling through. The smaller ones and the pieces obviously would fall through. But at around 2 hours, or right, just over 2 hours, I took them out and immediately uh, scraped them into a cardboard box and kind of broke them apart. Uh, I think if I had waited till they cooled off, that it would have been a little bit tougher to get them out of there. And they really didn't drip a whole lot. I imagine they don't really hold a lot to begin with. But there we have it. Hope you kind of found this some good information. If it changes your mind, or if you were on the fence like I was about stabilizing beans before casting, and hopefully this helps you out. Thanks for sticking around. I'll have a happy turning.